Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. Numbers of COVID-19 cases in Massachusetts are slowly decreasing, though anything could happen over the next few weeks because COVID seemingly has a mind of its own. Businesses are slowly starting to open up again, and on this week's episode, I'll be talking about some festivals and concerts going on both now and in the future. Plus, we'll be taking another safe road trip in Western Massachusetts for a different Hall of Fame, a continuation of the previous WWHEN episode. First, it's time for this week's trivia question, which will be answered during the RT Favorite Film segment. Heads up, this week's question is a two-parter. The question is, when did the original Wonder Woman television show air, and who was the actress that played her? Now, for this week's local entertainment headlines. Massachusetts announced approximately $173 million in awards to over 4,000 small businesses in the sixth round of COVID relief grants. This program is focused on serving businesses that have been the most impacted by the pandemic. Also, and more importantly, effective Monday, February 8th, certain businesses in the state can now increase their capacity limits to 40%. This is a change from an existing order that limited capacity to 25%, according to the mass.gov website. Here is a list of businesses and activities affected by the adjustment. Arcades, driving schools, gyms, health clubs, libraries, museums, retail, offices, places of worship, common areas of lodging, indoor golfing arenas, and movie theaters, with no more than 50 people per theater, including employees. They can all increase their capacity limit. Information on COVID-19 is always changing, so make sure to visit mass.gov and or the Berkshire Eagles website for more information about new rules and regulations. Also, if you are eligible for the vaccine, visit maimmunizations.org. Please note that vaccination clinics in the Berkshires are only located in Pittsfield, North Adams, and Great Barrington. Also, clinics fill up fast, so if you are eligible for the vaccine, please register as soon as possible. FreshGrass, the popular music festival at Mass MoCA, has announced plans for a 10th anniversary show. In an announcement on its website, concert officials stated, quote, "With vaccines rolling out and many experts predicting a return to live music events in the fall, we cannot wait to welcome our bluegrass family back to Mass MoCA," end quote. Last year's event was canceled due to COVID-19, and everyone who bought tickets for the 2020 event won't have to repurchase them. FreshGrass is scheduled to run from September 24th through September 26th. Tickets are sold as 3-day passes. They cost $125 for adults, $99 for students, and $46 for children ages 7 through 16. Concert officials will be announcing the lineup, which focuses on bluegrass and country music, in the coming months, so stay tuned. According to its website, if FreshGrass 2021 cannot be held due to COVID restrictions, the option to get a refund will be available. Last week, Pittsfield held its annual 10 by 10 Upstreet Arts Festival, though COVID and social distancing forced many changes. This popular event brings together many different unique arts to the city of Pittsfield, Through this pandemic, singers, actors, artists, dancers, and more have been struggling creatively. 10 by 10 shows what they accomplished during these challenging times. The festival ran from February 11th through February 21st. Some of the highlights of the 2021 festivities included ice sculpture carving, a best of 10 spot show at the Liechtenstein Art Center, slam poetry recitals, Berkshire Theatre Group's BTG plays, which were 10 plays written by high school and college students, a wildlife walk courtesy of the Mass Audubon, a Zoom dance party with the Jacob's Pillow Dance Festival, the BNRC Story Walk, an art show benefiting art majors in Berkshire County, and airings of performances of the Dance 10 and fireworks shows of the past, with the help of Pittsfield Community Television. The show must go on, and for these companies, it did. Hopefully in 2022, we will be able to have the 10 by 10 Upstreet Arts Festival face-to-face. If you would like to make a donation to these companies, visit discoverpittsfield.com or call 413-499-9348. The Berkshire Theatre Group is presenting a new comedy production called Irish Comedy Tour. This is a fast-paced, high-energy show that takes the party atmosphere of a Dublin pub and combines it with a boisterous, belly-laugh band of hooligans. Comedians performing include Detroit native Derek Richards, Boston-born Mike McCarthy, Nova Scotia's Damien Liebert, and Dublin's Derek Keane. In addition to the comedy, there will be Irish dancing from a trio of award-winning dancers out of New York. It's an excellent look into Irish comedy with those who know it best. The Irish Comedy Tour's performance at the Berkshire Theatre Group will be taking place on March 19th. Now, coincidentally, this is also St. Patrick's Day at 7:30 p.m. on 111 South Street in Pittsfield. Tickets for all patrons cost $25. Warning, this show will contain adult language and is not recommended for anyone under the age of 16. Also, patrons must be masked and seats will be placed 6 feet apart. Are you interested in classical music and violin pieces? If so, the Mahawie Theatre in Great Barrington has a special treat for you. It is presenting Close Encounters with Music, Forever Bach, the Celestial Suites for unaccompanied cello. Bach is one of the most famous composers of all time. His suites, which are sort of like mini concerts, are blueprints for many famous performances. Violinist Yehuda Pahani will be performing some of Bach's all-time greats. Pahani's recordings of Bach's 6 suites are some of the most definitive renditions on record. Both he and his music have been called absorbing, imaginative, expressive, and beautiful by many different newspapers. Close Encounters with Music at the Mahawie will be taking place virtually on February 28th at 7:30 p.m. on Zoom. This will be free for all members. Visit the website shown here for more information and registration. With the recent snow over the past few weeks, it's a great time for skiing or snowboarding. One of Berkshire County's most popular resorts is Jiminy Peak, which is located at 37 Corey Road in Hancock, Massachusetts. Jiminy Peak is now open for business, but with many new changes due to the COVID situation in place. The list of rules and regulations is enormous. First, face coverings are required at all times, with the exception of when you are seated at a table eating and drinking. Pre-purchasing your lift tickets is required as well, and the ticket window is limited to 4 or 8 hour time blocks, just like a regular non-COVID Jiminy Peak schedule. Ticket prices vary, so make sure to check out the Jiminy Peak website for more information. Skiing and snowboarding lessons are available only if you pre-purchase your tickets. Also, you can rent equipment, but with several new protocols in place. When you pre-register your tickets, you will also fill out a form for your height and weight. That way, staff will have your equipment ready immediately and not have to guess and search for the best equipment for you. Lodges will be open, but in limited capacity, depending on state current rules and regulations at the time. This also goes for public restrooms, locker rooms, and most dining options. Shuttles to and from the resort are still being sorted out because of the ever-changing landscape of COVID-19. Chairlifts will be used the following ways: 1 single on a 1 or 2 person lift, 2 singles on opposite ends of a 3 person lift, or 2 singles or 2 sets of doubles, which means 2 individuals from the same reservation group, on opposite ends of a 6 person lift. Visit JiminyPeak.com for all information on the ski resorts and their rules and regulations for reopening. Also, if you're into figure skating, a new skating rink has opened up on Railroad Street in Great Barrington. This is overseen by the town's Parks and Recreation Commission and is partially used by the Southern Berkshire Community Health Coalition for at-risk youth. However, it is open for everyone. Participants must remain 6 feet apart and stay masked. On the last episode of WWHEN, I gave a discussion on a road trip one could take to the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield. On this week's episode, we'll be visiting yet another Hall of Fame, located just 14 minutes away. The International Volleyball Hall of Fame is located at 444 Dwight Street in Holyoke, an hour from Pittsfield and an hour and 20 minutes from North Adams. Like basketball, volleyball was invented in Western Massachusetts. In this case, it was invented at a YMCA in Holyoke by William G. Morgan in 1895. Today, volleyball is the most participated sport in the world. More than 800 million people play it either recreationally or professionally. The Hall of Fame was established in 1978 as a nonprofit corporation and opened to the public in 1987. Today, a total of 146 men and women from 24 countries around the world are inducted for their volleyball achievements. At the Hall of Fame, you can learn about how volleyball grew from a popular recreational and exercise activity to an Olympic sport. You can also see how the births of basketball and volleyball intersected and improved each sport. Volleyball Hall of Fame is open Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. As of now, only 50 people will be allowed in at a time. Purchasing tickets online is required, and the ticket prices are the following: $8 for adults, $5 for students ages 10 and up, seniors and military, and children 10 and below can get in for free. If you have any questions, please visit volleyhall.org. In some great late breaking news, the owners of the Beacon Cinema announced on February 4th that they plan on reopening on February 26th. In an interview that he had with the Berkshire Eagle, Corey Jacobson, the owner of the Michigan-based Phoenix Theaters, which owns the Beacon, said that the group believed that now was a good time to reopen, because the restrictions associated with the COVID pandemic in Massachusetts are beginning to subside, saying in part, quote, "I really wanted to make sure that things were relaxed to the point where there weren't any travel restrictions," end quote. Phoenix Theaters has already opened theaters in locations in Iowa and Michigan. Please note that Regal Cinemas in Lanesboro is still closed, as are all Regal Cinemas throughout the world. There will be numerous rules and regulations. Both Phoenix Theaters and Beacon Cinemas have a new reserved seating program installed in the company's computer system that allows guests to reserve seats online. This wasn't possible before. There will be foot traffic patterns, and masks are required for both patrons and employees. Streamlined transactions will be at the ticketing and concession stands to further minimize touchpoints. And there will be multiple hand sanitizer stations. The Beacon is not yet sure of the movies it will be playing, so visit phoenixmovies.org for more information. Speaking of breaking news regarding movies, Wonder Woman 1984 is now on demand for everyone. This movie opened in theaters and to HBO Max subscribers in December. Happily, Warner Brothers' new releases are not streaming exclusive, meaning that they go to services like On Demand and do not require HBO Max. Warner Brothers is giving everyone a fair chance to watch their movies. Currently, the movie costs $19.99 on demand because of the short run in theaters. I was able to watch Wonder Woman 1984 recently. I had high expectations for the sequel to the third highest grossing movie of 2017. How do you improve on a movie that was so beloved both by critics and audiences? I don't want to go into spoilers that much, but the major theme of this movie is be careful what you wish for. And it also dives into the idea of the monkey's paw, which is making a wish without thinking of the consequences. The tone of Wonder Woman 1984 is more colorful than the first one was. This is due to its 80s setting. Gal Gadot is still amazing as Wonder Woman, bringing honor, pride to her role. Some minor issues with this movie. One of them was it had a lot of buildup, especially in the first hour. Action scenes are very minimal through this hour, but it does start to pick up pace by hour number 2. Also, Wonder Woman is a bit too long. Instead of being 2.5 hours, it could have easily been trimmed down by 15 minutes. But with that said, Wonder Woman 1984 absolutely retains the power that the original one had. With a message of hope and things will get better that was powerful in 1984 and is still resonant today. From a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst and 10 being the best, I give Wonder Woman 1984 a 9. Even though the movie has slight pacing problems, the action scenes were excellent, the story was very moving, and it is absolutely worth the $19.99. One last thing, make sure to stick around because this movie does have an end credit scene. Wonder Woman 1984 also brings us the answer to this week's trivia question, which is a 2-part question. As a reminder, the question was, when did the original Wonder Woman air on television, and who was the actress that played her? The answer to the first part of this question is 1975 through 1979, and the answer to the second part of this question is Linda Carter. The show ran on ABC for the first season, and then moved to CBS for the remainder of its run. For many years, due to a lack of female superheroes on both television screens and movie screens, Carter's performance was seen as the definitive Wonder Woman and the definitive superhero woman as a whole. Until the recent Wonder Woman films, generations of comic book fans saw Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. That ends this week's episode of Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. You can watch this week's episode on channel 1301 of PCTV, CTSB TV, and NBCTC. Air times on all three of these networks vary. Visit the websites shown here for more information. Also, if you would like to see the episodes in HD quality, make sure to check out my YouTube page at RT Wehry. Thank you.